One of Kara Swisher's latest pieces digs into this. It's titled, "Forgive Me Techies, but here are the 7 reasons why Silicon Valley likes Donald Trump." Kara Swisher is the executive editor of Recode. She joins us now on the CNBC Newsline. Kara, you admit in the piece that you write it somewhat begrudgingly, but you do say that the incoming administration and the transition team has been much more engaged with the tech community than in the past. How so?
Well, they just feel like they're getting communications, better communications with them, and that they're going back and forth in a much easier way. I don't know if that's entirely true. I just think they're surprised they're getting any communications since they were so opposed to the Trump campaign, and so I think that they're getting any pleasant communications is a surprise to them.
What do you think the first policy moves from companies will be? I mean, these tech companies are among the I would say most common offenders of the fact that they store, multi-billion-dollar cash piles abroad. Do you think that they will actually respond to some of the policies that have been discussed so far with their actions?
Well, I think, the repatriation of all that money is sort of the biggest focus of all of them. It's not like Obama didn't try to do this. He was blocked. And so Trump can do it because he's got the House and the Senate and everything else. And they want to cooperate with him. They want him to succeed. So it's not like it hasn't been wanted to be done before. It's just how we're going to do it, how much taxes are saved, what they're going to demand for doing that, what kind of side deals they're going to do. Are they going to be required to create manufacturing facilities in the U.S. Or invest in retraining or something like that? But I think that money is coming back, and what will be interesting will be what these companies do with it, whether they hand out to shareholders, whether they create these manufacturing facilities, whether they buy up companies. I think that's probably the thing you're going to see is a whole lot of M&A activity because there's a lot of money flowing back, and so that'll be interesting to see what they buy and what they don't buy.
Right. It seems people are salivating. But Mike, you were pointing out, how do we translate the amount of money that's over there into the amount of cash that people will actually spend back here?
Yeah, the estimates vary about in terms of how much is actually held over there just in ready cash, how much is investments, how much is profits that have built up and are in some other assets. But also, the very biggest companies that have the vast majority of the cash, Microsoft, Alphabet, and the rest, they don't lack for cheap capital right now. So the question is, if they are incentivized to bring it over here, will they feel like that's kind of a windfall that they want to put to use as opposed to, just using it in the regular course of business? And that, as Kara says, M&A is a likely beneficiary.
I wonder, too, about, Kara, when we talk about sort of other ways that they could invest or use this capital, what about this whole cyber issue? I mean, is it possible that with all of the hacking and with all of the vulnerabilities and a lot of the technology that's been deployed, and I'm not necessarily talking about stuff coming from these big companies, but even the kind of cheap internet-enabled devices that we have all around us now, if the Trump administration starts really trying to crack down on some of this stuff, does that put Silicon Valley in a vulnerable position, or how do you think they're going to respond?
No, I think we're already in a vulnerable position. I mean, most of our phones are manufactured in China, right? So, I mean, I think that's an interesting question is should we be returning some of the manufacturing? I think they'll make that argument that some of it should be returned here for those issues alone. And, I've heard all kinds of things that we should be making phones in the U.S. Now, I don't know how much real impact this is going to have, or else it's just a PR release. You know what I mean? Like the stuff like Sprint and SoftBank returning the money here, they were going to make those investments anyway, and they got a PR bump out of it. There'll probably be, a lot of those happening. Oh, look, we're returning jobs when they meant to do it anyway. And so I think a lot of it will be a perceptual game, and then a question of what he was saying is in the course of business, will they do that? Will there be a pressure to return it to shareholders? Will there be a pressure to there's going to be a lot of different things going to happen with that money, but it's not clear at all what it is, what that's going to be.
Well, and Kara, you and I have discussed before this idea that, yes, these companies are creating or pledging these new jobs, but it comes after a multi-year cycle where they've laid off a ton of workers. IBM having laid off 53,000 workers, Sprint laying off 9,000 workers in its restructuring. But as we try and fact check some of that stuff, there is some real ire toward the media. And I'm wondering what you think the state of journalism will be in 2017 as we all seek to keep fact-checking this administration and the companies that are working with it.
Well, I think that's just a PR game. It's always great to bash the media. I don't know. I'm pretty old. I remember when Nixon and Agnew did it. It was useful. And then look what happened to them, right? Both of them. I mean, I think it's just very useful to attack the media. I think it's a very easy thing, and blame the media. It's the media's fault. It's not. There's major issues, secular issues happening in this economy around jobs, first with manufacturing, soon to be AI, which is going to have an enormous effect on job growth and job creation when a lot of jobs are replaced by robots and drones and AI and stuff like that. And so they like to focus away from it. So why not blame the stupid reporters? I mean, come on. It's not the reason our country is having trouble. It's because there's some very major secular economic issues happening and have been happening over the many years, including, global manufacturing going around the world, these companies moving stuff. So, I mean, again, fine, go ahead and blame the media, and it makes you feel better. But, the media not there is really, that's really the outcome you want, so that this behavior is unchecked. I mean, I don't mind being unpopular. It's fine. I think the media just has to continue to focus in on infractions and problems and actually pointing out some of the lies that happen here. And they're out and out lies, many of them, and some of them, and at the same time, just continuing to try to figure out the best business models for media going forward, which are really hard. That's another major secular issue happening.
Kara Swisher's Take No Prisoners approach. It's always good to hear from you, Kara, and we wish you a Happy New Year.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.